Whoops. Sorry, folks. Whoops. Sorry, folks. Hello. So I am back. The Wanderer has returned, and I haven't live streamed since. Hi, Paul. I've been off broadcast. I've been enjoying some family time. Hi, Louisa. Been enjoying family time. And Sarah, fancy seeing you. Long time no see, and you didn't need to wake me up for the broadcast. Sarah, who's just watching in, she thought I might fall asleep after my travellings, and so she volunteered to ring me up if I hadn't gone live just after 10. Anyway, I am here. I am still full of beans after a few days away with my grandchildren in London. Hi, Leanne. And of course, spending time with my family, with my daughter and her family and my grandchildren, very special. Whichever members of my family I spend time with, it's special. But I've been making memories. What's his official spokesman? Oh, look, official spokesmodel for the Lynn Blackledge knitting endeavours. And Sarah, if anybody's been watching the page, you will see that Sarah is actually on my header of the Facebook page. Hang on, let's just scroll back. I'm not in the right place. Wait a minute. Because today, having been to London and doing a lot of knitting, making a lot of memories, it was great fun. And when I got back to the island, I linked up with Sarah and gave her the things that she'd ordered. She has ordered a crab and a bee. And if you look at my Facebook profile at the moment, you will see she's looking a bit scared, actually. Hi, Jenny. She's looking a bit scared of them almost. You need to smile more. I'll make you smile next time, Sarah. Hi, Frank. So lots of people coming into the broadcast. So I didn't broadcast Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. So I've been 3 nights missing. Hi, Karen. And so thought, well, I can't be back now Friday night and not broadcast. Queen of the weird face. Yeah, but making weird faces at the crab and the bee, but never mind. You enjoyed your crab and your bee. I was trying to link up with Lisa today, but she didn't manage to meet me down on the front. Hi, but this is for Lisa. She's looking forward to having her little white cat tomorrow. How's my knee? Now, everybody has been asking about my knee, so I will talk about my knee. It was on my list of things to talk about. As I say, I've been away doing various things and making memories. Hurting my knee wasn't a memory I wanted to make. Hi, Gail. Yesterday, so Thursday it was, I was heading off to meet, I think it was Thursday. I've lost track of the days, but I'm sure. I was heading off. My daughter had gone, the children were in school. My daughter had gone to have her nails done, and I was going to I stayed at home doing some of my knitting. And then I was going to meet my daughter. Hi, Heidi. I was going to meet my daughter for lunch and meet her where she was having her nails pampered. Only I nearly didn't make it because there I was whizzing along with Lilac Lil. And those of you who don't know, Lilac Lil is my shopping trolley, but she also serves as a walker. She also carries all my knitting stuff and all the stuff I don't want to carry anymore, and I don't have strength to carry anymore. And there I was going along, and all of a sudden, I decided everything went into slow motion, and I was pushing Lilac Lil, and then Lilac Lil suddenly decided to tip. What had happened, I'd actually caught my foot. I think it was a little bit of raised pavement, and I caught my foot and I started to tumble, but it just goes into slow motion. It was so weird, but I knew that if I fell straight forward, I would actually go flat on top of Lilac Lil, and that might hurt, in places I don't want it to hurt. And so I sort of I think I quite elegantly tumbled to the side of Lilac Lil. Lilac Lil went that way, and I went down to the side. And fortunately, I only just bumped my knee. Could have been really nasty, but I only just bumped my knee. So it made a little bruise. I don't even think there's anything much of a bruise. Hi, Janet. I don't even think there's much of a bruise left now. No, but as I say, so I was walking along when suddenly I went base over apex. As I say, Lilac Lil went to the side. I decided to fling myself this way, but actually I went, I think think I went down quite graciously. And and so, but the trouble is, if I get down on the ground, and I didn't mean to get down on the ground, I fell. All right, I tripped. So if you say, did I enjoy my trip? Yes, I did enjoy my trip. Well, no. Oh, that's fine. I'm glad I make everybody laugh. It's all about having fun, isn't it? So anyway, as I say, I got down there. I was sitting on the pavement thinking, oh, how am I going to get up? Because, you know, in my younger days, it would be easy. And as my grandson's son said to me, well, Granny, why didn't you just get up? But of course, for grannies, it's not always that easy just to get up. And, you know, so I just sat there for a minute contemplating what I was going to do. When I was in Pitshanger Lane, which is near my daughter, where my daughter lives. And I'm going to talk about Pitshanger Lane in a minute. So there I was sitting, and then I was conscious that a chap had gone past on a motorbike, and then he turned his motorbike back and came and parked alongside me. He'd obviously seen me tumble, and you know, was a bit of a knight in shining armour, so he came back and helped me. And another guy stopped a car behind, and he came to help me, but the first guy actually helped me up. So there I was, sort of just coming to, thinking what had happened, you know. Didn't have time to take a picture, actually. You know, when I fell once before, as soon as I knew I wasn't dead, I took a picture and had a laugh about it. But actually, you know, this guy was there. I didn't think it appropriate to be started taking photographs when he was going to try and help me up. So so we did a little bit of a struggle, and then I was back on my feet, and you know, just a little bit. I just went a little bit dizzy for a minute, and then I was fine soon after that. So I headed back to carry on my journey to meet my daughter, and then we went off and had a lovely lunch. So as I say, it was a bit of a bump yesterday. It just was a you know, just a bit of a shock and a little bump, but actually I've lived to tell the tale, and it doesn't even hurt today. So there we go. So that was it. But everybody was very concerned, and I thank you. Hi Naomi. I thank everybody for their concern when you've seen that I had taken a tumble. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I enjoyed my trip, my main trip, not that trip. Didn't enjoy that bit so much, but actually, as I came to no harm, it wasn't so bad. So, what have I been up to? Well, let's see. I've been making this week. I've been making crabs, robins, bees, cups, saucers, teapots, and Roman army costumes, but most of all, I've been making memories. I have been making memories with the family. I've been making memories to share with other people. So I can't show you the crab because I've already given it to Sarah today, because I met her after I got back onto the island. She spends a lot of time down on Ryde Seafront, and as I was coming in on the fast cat to Ryde Seafront, I messaged her and, you know, said, let's meet, or we decided we would meet up. So we met up and had a cuppa. Not this cuppa. This is a cuppa that I've been making cuppas too. Hi, Steve. So this was a little bit of fun. Look, I said, oh, I'm going to make a cuppa, but that cuppa was not a drinkable cuppa. This cuppa is, look. That's better. I can drink that one. I can only pretend with this one. And so, of course, because I had a cuppa, I had to have a teapot. But actually, the teapot isn't finished yet. This is the teapot to match the cup. Whoa. Oh, dear, now I've lost the cup. Whoa. So this is the teapot. I seem to have lost, in my big bag of wool, hi, Grant, I seem to have lost the spout and the handle. But tomorrow I will make that up, or later tonight I'll make that up, and you will see it's a teapot. So also Sarah ordered a bee, but I did lots of bees. Right, lessons in falling. I don't know if I do want lessons in falling. I want lessons in bouncing, I think. But it was okay. Thank you, Frank. So we'll put those lessons on hold, all right? So anyway, it was earlier in the week. Some of you might have seen these earlier in the week. I made quite a few bees this week because we had World Bee Day, and not bee day as in what you get in the bathroom, but bee day as in bees. Bzzz. So I've made several bees, one of which Sarah has now because that's what she wanted. And also I thought, well, if we're going to have a bee, let's have a ladybird. All right, a little ladybird chum. So you might realise that when I do my knitting, it's very therapeutic and I have a lot of fun with it. Don't ask me to make jumpers. I find jumpers boring, except when my children were small, I made tank tops. In actual fact, I found some patterns the other day. I made tank tops with the characters of the day on them. I can show you an example. This is the sort of thing I used to knit for my children, things with all the characters on. Let's have a look if I got any more. And I just dug this old book out. There, see, look, there's one with Scooby-Doo on. I used to do it. I don't like doing jumpers anymore. I like making all the characters. And for those of you watching in, oops, let's put that down there. All my knitting now is for charity, so it will be charity donations for these. A crab went off to David on the North Isle, because of course we're on the South Isle. Hi, Anna. And he's had a crab. So 2 crabs have gone off. A bee. The kitten will go off tomorrow. And don't forget, folks, this week, tomorrow, hi Liz, tomorrow it's the end of National Sandwich Week. So of course you've got to have a sandwich, and here's a cheese and tomato sandwich. Somewhere on brown bread I've got a ham and tomato sandwich. So yes, you need to know it was British Sandwich Week. Now for me, I don't have grain anymore, so I can't have sandwiches, so I have to get more creative. Yeah, so I have a lot of eggs. Look, so I could have hard-boiled eggs, but I couldn't have it as a sandwich. I'd have to do something else with it. Calorie-free, absolutely calorie-free. And so, and then Leanne, somebody, oh yes, no, not Leanne. One Leanne's watching in. We got more than one Leanne, and I think the other Leanne wanted a robin. But I did this one. He's got rather large wings. I followed the pattern, but he's got terribly large wings. He hasn't got a beak yet because I want to make a little felt beak, and I didn't have any felt with me. So I will put him a little beak on, but he's quite small, and so I asked her, did she want this size or did she want bigger? And she said she'd like a bigger one. I have got patterns for bigger robins. I have made robins. I made a robin on a log for my mum for one Christmas. You know, what do you buy your 90-something-year-old mum that she hasn't already got? That's right, yes. This Leanne showed me. That's right, because there's another Leanne who ordered. But Leanne now, who's in the broadcast, Leanne John's there. When I went to Manchester, I knitted this Susie. She still needs her. I still must make her bubbles and her bubble on here. But she's part of a scarecrow family. And so when I went up to London this time, this is Susie, and this is her brother, Sonny. Or it will be, but he's obviously needs some arms and a face and a hat and all that. And so Leanne, who's watching, she recognised the characters. And let me show you. Whoops, hang on. Oh, my pattern's fallen to bits. Let's see if whoops. Let's show you. Is it this one? Yes, here we go. Whoops. There, so look. That's part of a whole scarecrow family, and I am in the process of making them all. I've done this hat, that's Sally. There's Susie and Sunny down there. They're twins. That's Sam the scarecrow. There's a baby there in a pushchair. And then on the back, that's Grandma and Grandpa's scarecrow. And Leanne, somebody had made them and handed them down as an heirloom to Leanne, and she sent me photographs of her copies, her scarecrow family. But I say I'm working my way through these. Now they are fantastic because they've got all sorts of little characters on. Look, there's a mouse there, there's a little bee here, there's a little ladybird down here, caterpillars on there. And a bee and a snail, all sorts of fun little characters. So that's where some of the little characters have gone. So thank you, Leanne, for sharing with me your scarecrow family. That was lovely. And this is a book that I've been using for some of the other things. And this is 100 Little Knitted Projects by Sarah Keane. Now, obviously, these are copyright designs, but that's why I'm doing it all for charity, because, it's not for commercial gain, but it is okay to do them for charity. So this is my way of giving more to charity. Hi, Catherine. Because obviously, if I, as a pensioner, if I gave out money, I wouldn't be able to give as much. What I can do is use my talents to make up these things and make that money donation go even further. And we are supporting lots of different charities with all the different things that are being knitted here. Now, I did have fun yesterday while my daughter was it yesterday? Oh, I've lost track of the days because I was away. I went away on Tuesday, so I was away 3 nights, wasn't I? And so knitting. I went and got some more wool. Shh, don't tell Lou. But I was on the mainland, so I couldn't shop in Lou's shop. I will be going to Lou's shop to get some more wool. Stitching Elmer's here in Ryde. But while I was away, I thought I'd have a go at making a Bakewell tart. Now I'm grain free, but these are grain free, so that's fine. A bit chewy maybe. Hi, Catherine and Sandy coming in. And then I thought I'd have a go at making a piece of Battenberg. There we go, Battenberg. So lots and lots of lovely things. They were all in this book. Whoops. All my patterns are getting tied up. So they were all in this book. Now, I've renewed this book from the library 10 times. So I think now, look, there's the bees and the ladybirds. And so now I think I really ought to buy a copy of this book. Otherwise, the library might, they might not like me renewing it. So nobody's objected so far, but maybe I should have my own copy now. Look, there's a little mermaid. Oh, and anybody who was watching recently and saw my bigger mermaid that I've got, I haven't come home with it. My middle grandchild, well, can you be a middle one of 4? There's the twins and there's the little boy and then there's a girl in the middle, so she's sort of a middle child. She made off with my Mirabelle the mermaid, and so I have left her behind. So she's in. I don't know how that grandchild had a room for any more toys. She's got a bed absolutely full of toys, but she squeezed the mermaid in as well. Now, talking of my grandchildren, my youngest one is a little boy. There's 3 girls, twin girls of 11, who were 11 last week, and that was the 11th anniversary of me being a granny last Friday. And then the little one is 4, the middle one is 8. And so the 4-year-old, I had the pleasure of putting him to bed. My daughter, they should sell the book. They should. Maybe. So my little, my daughter, now, originally my daughter asked me if I could go to London for the 23rd because she had something. The twins are leaving school. Not leaving school, but leaving their primary school and going on to high school. And there was an important something going on Wednesday evening. I've even forgotten what it was. Oh, it was a concert, I think. Actually, it wasn't. Oh, no. Yeah, it was a concert for 2 of the girls, but I'm getting myself muddled. Anyway, so she wanted me there for and it's very difficult for her to get a babysitter across tea time when she's got, children to put to bed. Mind you, 2 of them were out with her and 2 of them left with me. And so originally I couldn't go because I had a network meeting that I'd arranged. It was my White Buzz group's network meeting. So I'd arranged the meeting and I'd been advertising it for a month. And so I said to her, I can't really because I've got a meeting and it's down to me. But at the end, at short notice, we had to cancel, not because of my daughter wanting me, but because there were some circumstances beyond our control that we couldn't have the network meeting then. It's not a cancel, it's a postpone. So I rang my daughter and said, well, actually, I'm free now. I had another appointment for something that I was able to change, or a couple of appointments that I was able to change. So I said to her, would you like me to come up? And she said, oh, yes, please. And so she said, come on Tuesday and stay till Friday. That gives me a nice time. So I went up on Tuesday. And so because I was there last night as well, she and her husband took advantage. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I mean that in a good way. While I was there, they had the chance to get out. They don't get out very often as a couple anymore. And so last night they were able to go to the cinema and enjoy a little bit of time together. So that was, I don't mind that at all. That's all part of what I do. So that was good. So I did make some notes because I've been away 3 days. I thought, I don't even remember. I had to look back to see what I did. Yes, so travelling up, I mean, those of you who were watching broadcast last time I went travelling, I had an hour's delay. This time all seemed to be fine. I got to Waterloo, no problem. I got on the train out to West London where my daughter is meeting me. Now, my daughter had an important appointment at 2:30. So she said, Mum, what time's the train coming in? I said 25 to 2. And she's not that far away from the station. So that should have been fine, shouldn't it? So we set off. I said, yes, I'm on the train. I'm on the way. And then the train ground to a halt. And it ground to a halt, and the guard said, I don't know why we're delayed. So that wasn't much help, because I didn't know how long I was going to be delayed. And it was touch and go as to whether my daughter would stay and give me a lift, or whether I would actually then have to get on the bus. Because if she had to go back for her important appointment, she didn't then have time to come back for me, because then she'd be on the school run. So I thought, just watching it. So long live mobile phones. So she was already waiting for me while we were way back stuck. And so I was calling her and saying, hey, don't know what's happening. And then we started moving. So I messaged her and said, we're on the move. She said, well, I'm going to have to go if you're not here by 2 o'clock. And then we moved. And I said to her, I think I'm going to be there about 1 minute to 2. So she waited for me, and I got my lift, and we were back in time for her appointment, which was just as well. Wednesday, on Wednesday, I think I did one of the school runs, or I can't remember. Sometimes I go and pick the children up if she's somewhere else, and I go and meet the children from school. Sometimes we go together. On Wednesday, I went and picked the little one up from nursery, and then went back to pick 2 of the others up from school. So I was picking up 3 of them. And I mentioned Pitshanger Lane earlier. Pitshanger Lane's an area in West London. And the reason I'm naming it, because in my time hop this week, I know it's funny because I looked up, I know John Martin, who runs the estate agents in Pitshanger Lane, and I always try and wave and if I go past when I'm in town, or try and chat with him. Sometimes I go in for a cup of tea. And so I tried to make contact with him. I was I'd tagged him in a message, and he hadn't seen it. So when I'd picked up the little one from nursery, as we were going past, I stood outside the estate agents waving, and his wife saw me and told him, and he came running out. And, we had a quick chat. The reason he'd had his head down and hadn't noticed my message was because he was on the dreaded GDPR, which for those of you who don't know, is, sort of people had to update. Well, I expect everybody knows about GDPR, and we're so sick of it. I have so many messages in my inbox now to go through with the dreaded GDPR, but he was updating his. But in my time hop, your memories, when your Facebook memories come up, it was funny because having just seen him, the memory came up. 2 years ago, he spearheaded a campaign, and it was to get Pitshanger Lane an award in the Great British High Street, and they worked very, very hard, and they were awarded an award in the Great British High Street, and they've got a plaque in the lane to show it off. And the children from the local school where my grandchildren go, they all made models of the whole of Pitshanger Lane. Pitshanger Lane is such a friendly area. When I was a new mum, I lived in a road parallel to Pitshanger Lane. And at Pitshanger Lane's, hi Mia, Pitshanger Lane is an area of West London. It's just a road with a row of shops in it. And the church that I got married in is there, and there's houses as well in the road. And it's one of those really friendly places. And when I was a new mum, if ever I got fed up, I just put my baby in the pram and walked up to Pitshanger Lane, and somebody would always talk to you. It's such a friendly area. They're all small local shops along there. No, not really chain stores. I mean, I think there's a co-op, but, apart from that, they're all little individual stores. And I remember when the twins were small, I would walk along there with them in the pram. And of course, having twins in a pram made people stop even more. So it's a really, really friendly area. And so Pitshanger Lane, High Lane, Pitshanger Lane how, you know, I have a lot of memories of Pitshanger Lane and life on the lane and that, and these days there's a lot goes on. They do light up the lane and they have all sorts of things. But I remember for the royal wedding for Charles and Di, they had a street party when we were living there, and lots of things go on in the lane. As I say, it's just a road with a row of shops and some houses, but it's a lively place. But they worked really hard, and I was delighted to see that they won. This was in 2016. They won the Great British one of the Great British High Street Awards, and then as I say, the school where the grandchildren went to, a lot of the children made models to actually model the lane, and that was, you know, that was really interesting to see. So, you know, it was funny that, as I say, John spearheaded that, and it was John that I was catching up with just this week. So it was meant to be. It was one of those memories that had been made. So that was also the day I fell over, folks. But as I say, I'm not, you know, I live to tell the tale. While I've been away, my grandson, you know, I put him to bed. And he likes Granny reading stories. I think when Mummy reads, perhaps she reads one or two. I'm not quite sure. And this is not a competition. This is just because Granny can. And so, and we have a bit of a joke about it. So the first night, Tuesday night, he said, "Granny, will you read 3 stories?" Now, of course, I was a nursery school teacher, so I love story reading. And I put the voices on. So, you know, if it's the 3 bears, you get the big daddy bear and the little baby bear. You know, sorry, I've got a bit of a hoarse throat. Sorry. So I like putting the accents in and all that. I love the books that are in rhyme, and my grandchildren have so many books. It's a delight to go to the bookshelf and choose and all sorts of things. And so that was the first night. He wanted 3. Then on the next night, he said, "Granny, can I have 5 stories?" I said, 5 stories. Anyway, I said, if you get ready for bed quickly, you can have 5 stories. So Granny read 5 stories. Well, of course, last night he wanted 6 stories. Somebody said it's a good job I've come home today, otherwise I'll be reading right through till breakfast time. I don't know if that was you, Frank. Somebody said that to me, you know, but I love it. And you know, the better the storyline, the more fun the storyline is, even better. And we do have a lot of fun. And I have to say, he made no fuss going to bed after I'd read all these stories. And today I got to Waterloo earlier. My daughter dropped me at the station early, so I got an earlier train into Waterloo. But I had an advance ticket, so I had to be on the 1 o'clock train. I couldn't catch an earlier Portsmouth train, because with the advance tickets you have to be on the train that you're on if you get the special offer. And so I had time to go and look in Foyles, the bookshop in Waterloo, and they had a book sale on, and they had several books at £1. So I've added to the collection. A couple of them were Christmas, but 3 of them were Christmas books. So I've got those put by. But you know, when they were £1, I couldn't actually miss that bargain, could I? It's been a very busy week. Had you made the fancy dress? No. Now, I was just coming on to the fancy dress, Karen, because anybody who's been watching my page this week will see that I've been making... Well, and while you're here, Granny, I need to be a Roman soldier on Friday. Well, my son-in-law was absolutely delighted that I was there this week, because hi Bob, normally it falls to him to make any costumes that they've got to wear, you know, in school. And I did have a bit of I was a go-to person when I lived in in the Pitshanger area way back. And Bob, who's just come in here, although he's living on the Isle of Wight now, Bob comes from that same area back in West London, Bob and his wife. So that's, you know, we caught up again back on the island. So, but anyway, yes, people will. So way back, I used to make fancy dress costumes, and it happened by accident. It's one of those things that just happened by accident. As I tell you, I was running the nursery school, and I ran my nursery school from 1977 till 1998. and had a wonderful time. And we used to do shows, little performances for the parents. And because my daughter was in a dance school, and her dance school was run by Bonnie Langford's sister, Bonnie Langford the dancer, and Bonnie Langford, who's also been in EastEnders. Her sister ran a dance school in West London where we lived, and my daughter was in the dance school, and because of that I learned to make loads of costumes on a budget, you know, and cutting corners. I don't mean cutting corners, I mean, you know, the quick ways. I learned all the tips of making costumes and making it look great with, you know, minimum effort and minimum materials. You can actually make great things. So it's just being in the right place at the right time. I learned to make loads of costumes. So through that, when I was doing my nursery school shows, I made all sorts of costumes. We did a show going round the world, so I made can costumes, Spanish costumes, soldiers marching at Buckingham Palace, and all sorts. We did the little mouse in the windmill in Amsterdam. So we went to China. We went to all these places. So all these costumes I used to make, and I loved it, and the children loved it, and I used to dress up with them. Hence why sometimes you'll see me dressed up here. I have no problem with all of that. I think it's lots of fun, and so. So because I did those costumes, then people started saying to me, oh, my child's got to go to a fancy dress costume. Can we hire one of those costumes? And then people started saying, oh, my child would love to be a princess or a soldier or whatever. Can you make me one of those for Christmas? So I ended up with a fancy dress business without meaning to have a fancy dress business. One of those things that happen. And people would order from me. I remember starting in August, all these run of fancy dress costumes. I mean, nowadays you can go and buy very cheaply in the supermarkets or off Amazon. So you could probably buy cheaper now than I could make back then. I was making them very cheaply anyway. But these days, you know, you can do it. But so I had this wonderful. I loved it. The more sequins, the more glitz and glamour, the more gold and shiny, the better, because, you know, you always need lots of sparkle, as you know, and that'll bring me on to something else in a minute. But it was quite interesting because the people who didn't know me panicked if their costume wasn't ready, you know, a week before Christmas. The people who did know me knew I would deliver even if I was delivering on Christmas Eve. And often that was the case because I was making right up to the last minute, you know, all these costumes, and then a big delivery was going out. I actually delivered them personally. But of course, when you're delivering to somebody a wonderful princess dress for, you know, it's coming and it's the order from Father Christmas, you can't take a big thing like this. You've got to make it look as boring and as uninteresting as possible. So there would be horrible brown paper parcels that I made them up. I made them look as uninteresting as possible because you never know who's going to be around when you knock on the door. So we had to have all the tricks of all that, but lots and lots of fun, loads of fun with that. And when I went, then I said just now, you know, talking about must never lose your sparkle. This week, somebody tagged me into a video. I don't know if any of you have seen it. Some of you watching might have seen it. And it was a video showing glitter coffins. And not only glitter coffins, but there was a purple glitter coffin. And of course, people will know. I mean, I don't intend to pop my clogs anytime soon, if I can help it. But, you know, not to be too morbid, but it was a bit of fun because there was all these glitzy coffins and all shiny, glittery, all different colours, pinks and turquoises and all sorts of colours. So if you want to see that, scroll down my page for earlier in the week and you'll see that. So let's see. Oh yes, also in my memories, like my time hop from Facebook, up popped something I'd forgotten about. Now, most of you watching in might realise that just recently we've been doing a big give us your votes. Or, you know, I was using social media for social good and asking you all to vote Bodster, which is a charity, a CIC company, community interest company here on the Isle of Wight, and they're doing fantastic work with using ponies and working with people with dementia. Some fantastic results going on there. And of course they were bidding for the big lottery money, 50,000 lottery money, and so, you know, that's one of the examples of, and fortunately they got it, you know, with everybody's help. Lots of you in the broadcast here would have voted, I know, because I asked everybody that I could at the time. Given more time, I would have asked even more of you. But you know, they got their almost 50,000 lottery funding for that. But 2 years ago, I was doing the same thing. I'd completely forgotten this one. I remembered I've used social media for social good several times, but on this occasion, it was lovely Tori Coles. Tori runs a gym here on the Isle of Wight, and she herself has battled cancer, and she got the chance to pitch to Richard Branson, and she had to be in the top 5, I think it was, or whatever. I can't remember the details. And in this occasion, when we were doing the Bodster votes, we couldn't see. We didn't know how many votes were coming in. We just were having to appeal to everybody. You know, some people were doing it here on the ground with leaflets and whatever. I was obviously on social media doing it and chatting to people I met on the bus or whatever. But on the occasion when we were getting votes for Tory, because what she wanted to do, she wanted to provide an area in her gym for people who are cancer sufferers to have an area of their own, and she wanted to go forward and see if she could get money, you know, through that. And so with that one, she could see the votes coming in, and my goodness, it was going like this, and she had to be in the I think it was the top 5 or the top 4, can't remember whether it was 4 or 5, it doesn't matter what it was. You know, it was real nail-biting stuff, because she'd get a load of votes and go up, and then somebody else would get a load of votes and go above her. But I'm delighted to say that we use, you know, a social media for social good there, and she came in the right place that she needed to be in order to pitch. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my daughter's just sent me a message, and I need to go and look at that in a minute. Sorry, that's distracting me. Never mind. Let's carry on with this. I think it will be okay. Yes, so she got to pitch to Rich. She didn't get right through, but she did get through to the next round, and that was great. Other things that have happened this week. I don't know if I've told you, I'm a local guide for Google now, and basically what that means is when I find good things out and about, I put pictures up that go on people's businesses in Google, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I actually manage some people's accounts, and I do their Google My Business, because if you haven't claimed your business on Google, you need to. So if you have got a business and you want to know about that, ping me a message. I'll tell you what to do. So I do manage people's accounts, and I manage their social media accounts as well. But also, being a local guide, it means if I go to a shop and I like something, I can put pictures up of it, and it gives them more oomph. You know, it gets me points. I don't even know what my points are for. That's not why I do it. I do it because I want to try and raise visibility for the businesses. So I was doing that, and I've reached level 5, and I've got 500 points. So I must look in and see what those points are for. I've no idea what they're for, but never mind. Don't worry about that. And then I was using, some of you might have seen again, earlier in the week, I was talking like a rabbit. I had rabbit ears, and I had a voice that was a rather squeaky, funny voice. And it was actually done. I was creating content through Snapchat, and makes me laugh because so many people say Snapchat, that's for youngsters, and actually, you know, it's not. It's not. Lots of people can use Snapchat in different ways, and businesses can use Snapchat, and there's so much around that. So if you want to know more about that, get in touch with me. My son's the expert on that one. Also, watch this space, because anybody in business, if you want to know, there's going to be a really exciting conference conference, not quite sure what he's calling it yet. He's just This is my son is arranging this on the 23rd of August in Milton Keynes. Anybody in that area who wants details, let me know. I know Karen in the broadcast here is going to that. So there's some great speakers lined up. There's all sorts of stuff. I'm very excited. I've saved the date. I shall be there, so that I shall be upskilling and learning lots more as well. That's, you know, that's something to look forward to. So I will be sharing that all with you shortly. And one of the best things about being away with family is, and you might have seen me put it up, I was away with my son and future daughter-in-law in Manchester recently, and then I was with my daughter this week, and it's the little things like tea in bed. When you're single, it doesn't happen. So when I went to Manchester, every morning that I was there, a cup of tea arrived while I was in bed. And with my daughter, the same, you know. And so, I mean, obviously life is very different in the two families, because my son and his fiance do not have a family yet. And so it's just me and them. My daughter obviously has the, oh, my computer's doing all sorts of strange things. So my daughter has the young children, so there's always a rush to get them out to school and all these things. So, you know, it's very different, but I always get that cup of tea in bed. But I don't think I finished telling you about the fancy dress, the soldier's outfit. So they've been learning about the Roman army, and my middle grandchild needed to be a Roman soldier. As I say, my son-in-law was delighted that I was there because he knew I'd take it over. And it's amazing what you can do with a Weetabix box, a bit of double-sided sticky tape, and a black bin bag and some gold. And so we did. I did put the pictures up. We covered her face because my grandchildren. One of the things that is the family rule is that the grandchildren are not seen on Facebook. Now it's okay if they're not identified. So when I put her picture up this morning, the helmet was right over her face. So if you think, why did I take a picture of my granddaughter and not show her, that's why. But well, Karen, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. The breastplate, that was lent by somebody else, and somebody lent a long white tunic to go underneath. The helmet was, my grandson had a knight's helmet, so we used the knight's helmet. Now, I went on Pinterest and had a look at some, what people had done for fancy dress costumes for this, because, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Sometimes I have the ideas, sometimes I don't. So it's, it doesn't matter. They put them on Pinterest for other people to look. And so with the, let me show you how I did this. Wait a minute. Let's take a piece of paper out. Here we go. So basically, I had a red piece of paper for the plume, the plume that goes on the soldier's hat. I had a red piece of paper. Instead of just folding it in half like that, what I did, I folded it this way, and I folded it, whoops. I didn't do it up in the air like this because it was easy. So I had it like that with a little bit in the middle. Whoops, I don't know if you can see that. So I had a little bit of a fold in the middle. Then I fringed all this bit, just cutting it. And then the day before, funnily enough, I'd been in Hobbycraft, and I had bought some double-sided sticky tape because it was £1. It was so cheap that I thought, oh, I better have that in my stock because I'm sure that will come in useful, not realising it come in useful the very next day. And so on this helmet, we put a piece of sticky double-sided tape there, and then that just went round like that. And when it was fringed, of course, it sat beautifully round. So it did look good. I was pretty pleased with it, and it was so easy to do. And then the bits, the soldiers have bits hanging down from their waist. So this person who lent her the breastplate had lent us a belt, and it was wonderful because the belt had holes in it. It was sort of lattice work, and so it had holes in it. So I used some of that wonderful garden wire, the stuff that you cut a piece off and then you twist it. And so I was able to make the bits that hang down from the belt. So it was this shape, down like that, and then they're like that, aren't they? They go to a point. And so my daughter had a Weetabix box, like you do. And so I said, oh, that's great, we can do that. And we managed to cut 6 pieces like that out of the Weetabix box, and then we covered it with a black bin bag, you know, just an ordinary bin bag. We had I just put double-sided sticky tape all around the edge. But the first one I did, you know, if you get, can you imagine? I was trying to I'd got the cardboard down and I was trying to put the black bag on it like this. So it went and stuck on that side, and then it stuck on that side. Of course, it all screwed up and stuck where it wanted to. So that was you had to take that off and start again. Back to the drawing board. And one of the twins said, Granny, why don't you do it the other way up? Why don't you spread the black out and then put it on like that? Much better idea. So that's what we did. So it was teamwork in the end. She was holding it out flat, because you have to hold it very flat. Otherwise, you know what bin bags are like. They crunkle up very easily. So that's what we did. Popped it on there. So easy. Just cut round the edges. Ba-boom. Job done. Make a hole in the top of it. Push the wire through. And this morning, before she went to school, we had to be up a bit earlier so that we could just put it together. So I just, once it was on her and the belt was on her, I just pushed the wire through the belt and tied it on. And I made her some just pieces of gold card, just, you know, just stuck round again with a bit of, just wrapped round her there, and with a bit of double-sided sticky tape. So, you know, fancy dress costumes will be, you know, lessons will be given if you want, you know. I've done so many of them, so many over the years. When I was in London about 2-3 years ago, it was the children's school fete, and they had to be, the theme of the fancy dress was London Underground stations. And I thought of all the most complicated ones like Tower Bridge and all that, and working models. And then I scrapped that idea because we needed to be quick. And I went for Bow Street. So all I did, the black bin bags is so useful for fancy dress. I made just had a big cardboard piece at the front, a big cardboard piece at the back, attached on ribbons here. So basically like a tabard. And I covered it in black. I made a white line down the middle, so it was like a road, and I just made lots of big bows out of the ribbon, the florist ribbon, so it was nice and, you know, big, and just had bows, alternate colour bows all the way down here. Bow Street, ba-boom, ever so easy. And the other one I did as Kew Gardens. This time I put a box over the child, cut a hole in a big cardboard box, so she had her head out and her arms out here. Put a big Q, a letter Q on the front, and then made loads of paper flowers to go all over it, and something on her hat. I can't remember. I think, oh, I know. On their heads, they had a hat that had, you know, the railway sign, the round bit with the name of the station through it. That's what we did there. So you can do these things. Just need to think a bit out of the box, or sometimes think in the box. Put the child in the box. So fancy dress costumes are things, again, those are my skills, you know. Some people say, oh, I'm amazing. No, I play to my strengths. My strengths are in the creative side like this. Don't ask me to play the piano or, you know, cook a fancy meal. Those are not where I excel. You know, this sort of thing I absolutely love. So I love it. I do more and more. You get better at it as you know, do it. So you know, you're all amazing people. You've all got talents of different sorts. So don't ever put yourself down, any of you. And talking of playing the piano, one of the other things, while I was sitting knitting at my daughter's, and nobody else was in the house, just me and the cats, a piece of music came on the radio. The memories. Oh, you know, isn't it funny when, hi Tina, isn't it funny when something can jog your memory, whether it's a smell, whether it's a song, whether it's a tune. And on the radio, my daughter said, oh, would you like the radio on, Mum? I said, yes. Oh, can you put some classic on? And so she put Classic FM on, and Furry Lise came on. I don't know if you know that piece of music, very famous piece of music. And oh my goodness, it sort of sent almost a shiver down my spine. It was one of the pieces my sister used. My sister's musical, I am not. So she used to play that very well as a child. So I captured it so that I could put it on Facebook. I captured it. I videoed the radio and caught the music and put it out there. And when I tagged my sister in it, hello, hi Terry, hi Tina. Yeah, so when I tagged my sister in it, she said she doesn't play now, but she said Charlotte, that's one of my granddaughters, plays it much better than she does, because my sister hasn't practiced for years and years. I don't know. She's actually got the piano that I bought for my children, and when I had to move to smaller properties, she ended up with the piano, and I'm delighted that she has got it. And now when my grandchildren are there, they play it, so it's quite fun that it was, it's done the circle. Tina coming in there, she's come up, several of you have come up with names for my knitting page, my new knitting page, where I'm going to put all my knitting. There's going to be a place where it's all there, and you can see what I've been making, and it's all about the charities. I'm not going to say the name now, because partly I've got to get my tongue round it again, Tina. We'll have a big reveal on the names. Several of you came up with different names. I will go through all the different names and then let you know what Tina came up with. I was on the ferry coming home when Tina pinged me a message and said, how about this? And we were having a little discussion while I was travelling back across the water, across the pond, as we call it. So there will be a reveal on that. I've got to get that sorted, so that all these things that I'm making, like the cups of tea and the Battenbergs, they're all for sale, for charity, for donations. Look, even a little hard-boiled egg there. So we needed a place to put them rather than always just on my Facebook page. It's nice there, but they get lost in other posts. So we are going to be sort of putting them in a more central place. They'll probably appear there as well. Anyway, and then when I got back today, after having sat and had a cup of tea with Sarah on the seafront and giving her crab and her bee, and I'm looking for something on here and I don't know what, I've forgotten what I'm looking for. How silly is that? Oh no, I know. I had earlier in the week, I'd asked them to put a book by in number 66, which is one of my favourite gift shops on the island, and you'll hear me talk about it again and again. Never Stop Dreaming. And so I said, can you just put this book by till Friday? I'll come and get it on Friday, because I was in a rush or whatever. And so I went up to get that, and of course I didn't just stop at one book, did I? I had to have two books, because there was another one. This one's called You Make Me Proud, and this one's called Never Stop Dreaming. And just before we go, just before I wind up here, I'm going to read out of this one, Never Stop Dreaming, and then I'll read out of the other one maybe tomorrow or in the days to come. So let's just read a little bit out of here. It says, and wait a minute, this is Never Stop Dreaming. What is it? All human beings are also dream beings. Dreaming ties all mankind together. And that's Jack Kerouac. Sorry, I don't know if I've pronounced that properly. Dreams are places our imagination can run wild and our hearts can be truly free. Whether you are a daydreamer or you're dreaming big, this collection of beautiful quotes and inspiring statements will help you reach for the stars. As bad as you or as good as you? Karen said, you are as bad as me for books, or is that just... Oh yes, I hadn't read the second half of the sentence, Karen. Yes, we're good as each other on the books. But you see, don't forget, I'm sharing my books with all of you. That's why, it's not just for me, it's for all of you as well. It's okay. Books is okay. Books is a good thing to buy. So nothing. So wait a minute. Did I read that? Yes, I read the back, didn't I? Nothing happens unless first we dream. And that's Carl Sandburg. And if a little dreaming is dangerous, the cure for it is not to dream less, but to dream more, to dream all the time. And that's a Marcel Proust. Books are food for the soul. They certainly are, Tina. So many books. And of course, I was in Foyles while I was waiting for my train. I don't know if you heard earlier in the broadcast. I don't know if you're in here, Tina. And I found 4 books at £1 each. That 3 of them were Christmas books, and that was too good a bargain to miss. So they've gone in my stash for children for Christmas. Calorie free. Absolutely, they're calorie free. Just like my Battenberg. Calorie free and grain free. Look, and just like my Bakewell tart. I don't know if you were in earlier, Tina. I don't know if you saw those earlier. This is some of the handiwork I've been doing this week. So, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? And that's Robert Browning. And a quote here from Theodore Roosevelt. Thanks for all the love there. Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. And just a couple more before I finish. Your mind is your instrument. Learn to be its master and not its slave. And that's Ramez Sasson. And an Oprah Winfrey quote. Every day brings a chance for you to dream in a breath. Kick off your shoes and dance. There we go. So that's where I'm going to stop now, folks. So thank you. That wasn't a very... I thought it was going to be a short broadcast tonight. I thought, what am I going to talk about? And it's almost up to the hour. So thanks, everybody, for coming in very much. You know, I missed broadcasting over the last 3 evenings, but it was good to have a break and to take family time. You love the Bakewell, do you? Well, there's more things coming. There's tarts, there's pizzas, there's hot dogs, there's burgers, all sorts of things coming. And I don't know if you saw, but somebody challenged me. I think it was Heidi. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Heidi tagged me in. Apparently at the county show, in the horticultural tent, or the, you know, that sort of tent, they're going to have something. It was creatives around food, I think. I've got to go back and have a look at the post. But I think there will be some of Lynn's knitting there. I'm sure. I've got to go and see what it is first. And then, but it appealed to me at the time. And so I'm just going to finish my cuppa. Then I'll finish making the teapot. All right. I got to find the spout and the handle. I put them in my bag when I was on the train, and I seem to have mislaid them. I got caught up with all the wool. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you, folks. Thank you so much for being with me again. It's good to be back. You did see it. Yes. Oh, that's right. I don't know who's seen what, you see, because I've been putting out so much content out. And of course, I've been putting teasers out, haven't I? And I've been putting a bit of knitting and then asking you to guess. And the last one is very difficult. And I couldn't even find the bits of the knitting when I got here. It's in the bottom of the bag somewhere. So I couldn't even hold it up to show you. But it's quite misleading. So the next one, you'll have to keep your eye out and see what it's around. The clue is sport. But it's made a lot of content, and it's a lot of people engaging with the page, which is lovely. So bye for now. Love you a lot. See you all soon. And thanks as ever for joining me.